Good morning, Bearcats on the Prowl. It's James, Ernest, and Mark Fightmaster, as always, with the group. Hello?
Hey, there you are.
So, Mark, tell us what those Bearcats have been up to.
Hey, not much, James. Sorry, my line cut out there for a second.
No
worries.
Know
what was going on. Well, I guess let's start with football, James, since that's what everybody's talking about, and then we'll move to basketball. Bearcats ranked, well, by now everybody knows, they're fourth in the college football playoffs. Looks like they'll be playing on New Year's Eve day at 3:30 in the Cotton Bowl against number 1 Alabama. It presents a very tough situation for the Bearcats. You know, I mean, this is the number 1 team, and they've earned it. Yeah, they have a loss to Texas A&M. So what? Bad day. They still are probably the best team in the country. So we'll see how the Bearcats handle it.
I mean, that is the big question is, does that loss mean anything? Do some of those poor performances, do they mean anything? Do they give us hope?
I think it can give us some hope, but I think what it gives us more than anything is tape, to watch. It gives Fickle and the boys some tape to watch and figure out what they're going to do to attack Alabama's weaknesses. Texas A&M had some success, if I remember correctly, it's been a few weeks back, running the ball against them. But it wasn't just straight up the middle. It had to be off tackle, I believe, and then they also, some trick plays here and there were sprinkled in. So, things like that happen. The one thing Texas A&M did have that night was a kicker who was kicking lights out. So, hopefully UC can get their kicker into it early maybe and see what happens. I mean, you never know what it's going to come down to in this game. I don't. I hate to say this, but probably one of two things are going to happen. It's going to be a close game right down to the buzzer, or Alabama's just going to blow us out. I don't think it's going to go the opposite way. It doesn't mean it won't, but I just don't think it will. So.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a blowout with UC blowing them out. However, I don't think it's going to be a blowout the other way where UC is going to get blown out. I mean, like I was saying with Texas A&M and Florida. I mean, gosh, they had a couple games this year. LSU. These weren't world beater teams.
No, they weren't, James. The thing is, they are designed, they're obviously SEC teams. And there's a difference between SEC teams and UC's team right now. But, we'll see what we can do to get around that. SEC teams are a little bit more, I think they have a little bit stronger lines. And that's really about it. We got a good quarterback. We got speed on the outside. We got a big, strong running back who has breakaway speed. I think right now the difference, and I said this the other night when we were doing the video chat, it comes down to the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah, because, that's the big thing is, based on these other teams, can we get the pressure on their quarterback, and can we keep it off of ours?
Right. And because Bryce Young is a young quarterback, and he's going to, maybe make some mistakes if we put some pressure on him, but we've got to get the pressure on him. We've got to have, our ends do their jobs. And J. Sanders and why is the other name escaping me? They need to do their jobs on the line and get in there and put pressure on the quarterback.
Definitely. So, yeah, we got that. The great thing we have going for us is the corners. We have the corners and we have the injury. Those are the two big factors that got us some optimism.
Yeah, and I think so, James. John Michie is their second leading receiver, if I remember correctly. And he's out with an ACL tear.
Mm-hmm.
So, that takes one of their weapons off the board. And then if you figure if they're going to put Sauce on the number 1 receiver, it could be an interesting night. It could be tough for Alabama to throw the ball, just depending on how tight the coverage is. And then, of course, James, you and I both know scheme. Nick Saban is going to get people open, or coordinators will. It's just who and where. You got to watch out for the tight ends especially. I think with the injuries to the wide receivers and the possibility of taking away that tight end sneaking across the middle, you get the back coming out of the backfield on like a wheel route or circle pass, whatever you want to call it. Those could be problems for UC, which means that their linebackers are going to have to step up.
Very true. But, on the offense, everyone always knows Alabama's got a great defense. It's just the nice thing is UC's offense is so versatile. I think that really helps.
I do too. I think you have an elite level athlete at quarterback. You got some good receivers, good bordering on great receivers. Pierce is a stud. Wiley at tight end. Didn't do as much as I expected him to this year, but that's okay, as long as he comes through now. We have our weapons, and then we got, the running back Ford. I think he could be the X factor for the offense, depending on how the line does.
Very true. After all, we got him from them, so, that is huge.
Yeah, I guess he's going to see some friends lining up across from him.
See, that's what I wonder. I don't know, how long he was there, a year?
I think so, James. I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know how much, love lost, that kind of thing, that, that it might not even be a big thing to him.
Yeah, that's a good point. It probably is nothing to him. It's just another game. So we'll see. Hopefully the Bearcats can treat it that way. Hopefully this team can say, okay, we're going to be somewhere that we've never been before, but we have to treat this as just another game.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the big difference, that pretty much everybody on Alabama's team has played, or most of the players on their team have played in some version of the college football playoffs.
Yeah. I was reading a stat somewhere that, it's like they started these in 2014, I guess.
2014.
Since then, it's mostly, I think the teams that have made the most appearances are Alabama and Ohio State. And then last year Georgia had just missed out, and Clemson was in, and then, you get your LSUs in that, but this is almost like, somebody busting into a private club, sneaking in, but, the Cats have done it, and we'll see what happens.
And that is the nice thing, that they were able to do something that UCF couldn't accomplish.
Right. And it was that Notre Dame game. Is all that it boiled down to. I was reading something today that said, we can't forget that UC was probably about half a yard in that Big 12 championship game from missing. The playoffs. It's what some people are saying. So, things worked. Fate worked the way it needed to.
Half a yard? What?
Oklahoma State.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if
goal.
Baylor would have won, then Oklahoma would have won, then we would have possibly gotten gypped out. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's what they were saying is, if Oklahoma State had won, the possibility was that they'd take Oklahoma State over us.
Yeah, because that after all did happen to TCU. They had a similar thing, and they ended up getting taken out of it. Yeah, so I could see that. So we got a lot of great stuff going on with the college football, the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, it's a little too soon for predictions. We're not going to do that. Let's switch over to basketball.
Okay, sounds good. With the team, they beat Bryant on Sunday. I believe it was 75-58 was the final. I think in that range, 73-58, something in there. I don't know, James. It's kind of an interesting game to watch because, man, for so long it took them like 8 minutes to make a shot.
Oh, wow.
But down the stretch, the guards pulled away for us, the three-headed monster at guard. Now, what is of note is Davenport didn't play. and I believe it was because of an injury, an ankle injury, maybe, if I remember reading that correctly.
That does sound correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so he didn't play. So that's going to be big going into Saturday. But the good thing is, the next game is Saturday.
Exactly. So they got some time to heal. Yeah, I mean, they've already had a couple of days off. They got a couple more. So, I mean, they really do have that scheduled quite well.
Yeah, they do. And James, the game before Bryant was that Miami game, and that was the night after we recorded the podcast last week, I believe. And that was a tough one. They won. The Bearcats won at 59-58. And it came down to the end. I mean, Miami, I think, had a good look on a rebound putback, but they couldn't convert. But it was like you and I had talked. Miami was strong, very guard heavy.
Yeah.
They kind of took it to our guards a little bit. So it was good to see them rebound in the game against Bryant.
Exactly. And, I mean, the nice thing is being able to go on the road and win those type of games against Miami. I mean, that is where, you have to worry about getting tripped up against a solid team like them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Miami win the MAC, but they're going to make some noise in it. I mean, they are a good team. So, yeah, that was a good one for the Bearcats.
So, of course, we're excited. The Crosstown Shootout Saturday. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. I don't know too much about Xavier. I know Earl Scruggs is their big guy. He's the one that does the majority of the point scoring. So, but, yeah, I think it's going to be, I don't know, James. I don't want to give a prediction, but I think it's going to be a close game. I can see UC throwing their four-headed monster of Globo, Lock-In, and the other two names are escaping me, the other two big guys they got, at Scruggs, and see how they do. The thing about that is if we're going to eliminate him, then we got to watch their guards and their forwards because they are very talented. Well, I think in the last game that they won 77-71, but I can't remember who they beat.
Oklahoma State.
Okay, Oklahoma State. So they, they're good. And then if you want, you say OSU, Xavier beat Ohio State, who then went out and beat Duke. So this is a good Xavier team. So it's going to be a tough game.
I agree with you. Yeah, I was going to say Xavier's played a heck of a good schedule this year. I mean, they lost to Iowa State, but they beat Virginia Tech, they beat Oklahoma State, they beat Ohio State. I mean, they've beat some really great teams. They have,
and that's what worries me a little bit. But our guys, they are gaining some confidence, winning the games that they're playing. They did beat Georgia. They beat the game before Arkansas. Who did they beat before Arkansas?
Oh, Illinois.
Illinois. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I'm getting old, dude.
It happens.
But so we've gained some confidence there. So it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be close.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a solid game. Actually, but I kind of go back to the thing we were just talking about with UC having the time off, where Xavier, they have a game on Wednesday. It's against Ball State. So, I mean, they'll have time between the games, but they won't have, UC has almost like a bye week, it feels like.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I think that's helpful, for the Bearcats. I think it's going to give Miller some time to get some strategy going, and I think it'll be a benefit.
Definitely. So, it seems like there's a lot of great stuff going on in Cincinnati sports.
There is for the Bearcats, and then you got the women's basketball team. They're playing well. From what I've read, haven't gotten to see them, but they're doing decent. They play Xavier on Saturday afternoon, I believe, at UC. So if you want to go out and watch them play, that's a good chance to do it.
Definitely. Funny story about that. I accidentally went to the wrong stadium before when I tried to go to the women's Crosstown because I thought they were at the same, they were held at the same place. No, yeah. So I was going to go to UC, but they were playing at Xavier. Got there,
yeah.
Got there and go, where is everybody? And they're like, what are you talking about? They're playing at the other place. And I'm like, oh,
yep,
yeah, they're playing on, they're playing on Sunday.
Oh, it's Sunday. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so the men's game Saturday, women's game on Sunday.
Yeah,
but you're right. Yeah, it should be a good one. So it seems like there's some great things. Obviously, we're going to touch base with you each week between now and the big game, the Cotton Bowl. Goodyear Cotton Bowl. So I got to get practice saying that because when I have actually, so I love doing promos for the other show. I have the Cotton Bowl coming on my show on Christmas Day, and then
cool.
so it'll be fun. And then this Saturday we have Terry Nelson as a guest on the show. So we got a bunch of good stuff coming up.
Good. Hey, James, before we go, it would be horrible for me to forget this, but Herb Jones passed away a couple of days ago from the Final Four team. He was one of the leading scorers on that team. He was 51 years old, absolute animal when he played. He was one of the first players I remember really falling in love with for UC. So I just want to, say that he's in our thoughts and prayers and send his family the best.
Definitely, I agree with you. Well, for the UC Bearcats on the Prowl, it's been James Ernest, Mark Fightmaster. Have a great evening.